In the early 1900s, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a remarkable community began to rise. Greenwood. Built by Black entrepreneurs, families, and dreamers, it grew faster than anyone expected. Within a few short years, over 300 Black-owned businesses lined its streets. Grocery stores, hotels, movie theaters. Greenwood had it all. Its own newspaper, its own hospital. A community that ran on self-reliance. Children walked these streets to school each morning, proud and hopeful. Inside, they were taught by their own community teacher in their own classrooms. Education was the foundation of everything Greenwood hoped to build. By day, the streets buzzed with commerce and ambition. Barbershops buzzed with conversation. Banks bustled with new deposits. This wasn't just a neighborhood. It was an economic engine, entirely self-made. By night, the community came alive in a different way. Jazz clubs and theaters filled with music, laughter, and joy. Churches stood as pillars of faith, family, and unity. On Sundays, whole families gathered for worship and for each other. Social clubs and fraternal halls brought neighbors even closer together. Word of this prosperity spread far beyond Tulsa's borders. Soon, people gave this remarkable place a new name. They called it Black Wall Street, a symbol of what was possible. But this hard-won prosperity would soon be tested in ways no one could have imagined. On May 30th, 1921, an ordinary moment set off a chain of events no one could stop. A young black shoeshiner named Dick Rowland stepped into an elevator. What happened inside that elevator remains disputed to this day, but a scream was heard, and Rowland was accused of assaulting the elevator operator, Sarah Page. By the next morning, the story had spread, and it had changed. A local newspaper printed an inflammatory account, and rumors spread like wildfire. By afternoon, Dick Rowland had been arrested and taken to the courthouse jail. Word spread through Greenwood and through the rest of Tulsa. By evening, a white crowd had gathered outside the courthouse, calling for Rowland. Fearing a lynching, a group of black men, many of them WWI veterans, arrived to protect him. They had fought for their country. Now they stood ready to defend their community. Tensions rose as the two crowds faced each other outside the courthouse. Sheriff's deputies tried to keep the peace, but the crowd only grew larger. As night fell, the air grew heavy with fear and uncertainty. A scuffle broke out. Then, a single gunshot rang through the crowd. In an instant, the standoff turned to chaos. The black veterans retreated toward Greenwood, still vastly outnumbered. By midnight, armed groups had begun to gather at the edges of Greenwood. What began as a single accusation had become something far greater and far more dangerous. By the first hours of June 1st, Greenwood stood on the edge of catastrophe.